our next topic here brings us to the wonderful world of Disney. And with that, their latest Pixar movie, Soul, they are going to be putting directly on Disney Plus now, skipping a theatrical release, much like Mulan, but different than Mulan, because they are not going to be charging the $30 up front for you to actually watch the film. And that is kind of what I wanted to talk about here today because they just recently released Mulan on uh other like VOD services, not VOD, but well, I guess technically speaking, but they put it on like the iTunes store to purchase Mulan, and then like Google Play, all these other places, and they got a lot of backlash when they did this because it was the same price essentially, okay? So you could go on iTunes or whatever and pay $30 to get Mulan, but you get to keep Mulan, obviously, because you're buying it outright there. But not only do you get to buy it, outright and you keep it forever, unless Google or Apple goes away at some point. Um, so $30 you get to keep it. Then it was also a 4K edition with a bunch of behind the scenes bonus features and stuff. And then if you had paid for it on Disney Plus, you didn't get any of that stuff. You didn't get it in the 4K, you didn't get the bonus features, and you don't get to keep the movie because if you cancel your Disney Plus subscription, you no longer have access to it.
That's so silly.
So you're essentially if you paid the $30 to watch Mulan, you actually paid like what is it, like $8 a month for Disney Plus right now, which is gonna be going up at some point. So or is it less than that? I can't remember. Is it like $6 a month right now?
It might have been like 6 or 6.99, yeah, something
Let's
like
split
that.
the difference and say it's 7, okay? So if it's $7 a month, you're paying $84 plus your $30, which is $114 for you to watch Mulan, okay? I don't think that's really worth it, in my opinion. But granted, you get all the other Disney content and stuff, but the real story with that, in my opinion, is that like you don't get to keep the movie afterward. Like, and I think that's a huge, gross oversight that Disney did, at least in my opinion, because you're gonna charge someone like full price. Like, yeah, they like framed it as like early access to Milan, but I mean that's kind of shady in my opinion. Like,
Yeah,
if
for
because
sure.
like they should have made it to where because I feel like a lot of the backlash they got may have led to their decision of not making you pay an extra $30 to see Soul, and like they're just putting it on Disney Plus. And this is like it been a really talked about Pixar movie. I mean, everybody loves Pixar movies; they're all great. And ever since they first showed it off, I think at D23 this past year, everyone was like really excited to see it. It looked good and blah blah blah. So it poised to be a successful movie. All of Pixar's movies, I think, typically make around 600 million to $1 billion themselves. So like they are typically, even when they're not like, I mean, they're always good. Like they're always good in some level, even if they're not really your taste. Like they normally are always very good and they're very successful. So it's interesting that they're just foregoing the potential gains from that movie like kind of outright by just putting it on Disney Plus. But I do have to say Disney Plus again, like I've been saying this for a year now, is still hurting for content. Like to this day, they still just have like Mandalorian and what was the Hamilton finally came out on there, but that's not really an original thing.
No.
That's just something they bought the rights to and put it on. So, like, I mean, that's kind of like an asterisk by Hamilton. So then aside from some other, like, smaller kind of filler shows, they you haven't had any of your Marvel series come out, your flagship shows, they still don't have anything on there. Like, in my opinion, Disney Plus just doesn't have anything to offer right now, content-wise, other than their back catalog that everyone's, I mean, already seen. So, I mean, it's great if you have families and your kids wanna watch it and whatnot and everything. But, what do you guys think of this? Do you think it's a good move for them to put this on there for free, or do you think they're just based on the financial success of, like, Pixar movies that, like, they should have just held this thing off and released it sometime next year.
I think it's stupid that they did that with Mulan, but they're not doing that with this, and I don't know, it's a shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like, the I don't know, the unevenness, I guess, the discrepancy, like what, like of them doing why Mulan but not this? Because
Yeah.
arguably this is more of your win than Mulan, in my opinion. Like the live action Disney movies, while like most of them have been like successful, not all of them have been well received. Pixar movies are always typically well received and successful. So if you were going to charge anything upfront cost, I feel like this would have maybe been your better bet. Like I don't know though, like maybe not though. Mulan is a bigger name. This is its own property, so like you're just I don't know. I guess Upward didn't really do that well, or Onward rather didn't really do all that well.
Yeah.
But Onward, when it came out though, it was right when the Cove hit, so it didn't really get a full theatrical run. And like as soon as the theaters shut down, they put it on VOD at Disney Plus. Right? I think they just put it straight to Disney Plus, like right when that stuff
Yep,
happened.
went
So,
right
and
to
you didn't
Disney
have to
Plus.
pay for it; it was just there. So I don't know. What do you think, John?
Um, it's hard to evaluate these things from the outside. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if this is an indictment against how Mulan did. Was Mulan not successful financially for them? Do they feel like that they didn't make what they wanted to make with releasing it, and they feel like this is more just a way to keep people, because Mulan hasn't hit Disney Plus yet as for just the regular subscribers. So, and who knows how long it's going to be before it shows up on the platform for those that didn't pay the $30. Um, so I feel like you said, they're hurting for content. When you look at the release, how often Amazon and Netflix, who are their streaming competitors, are releasing new content. Um, Clearly Disney is not matching that pace. So I think this gives them the opportunity to say, well, we may not be offering the quantity that you're getting from Amazon or Netflix, but we're definitely offering maybe a step above in terms of quality, um, and try and pull people in or keep people subscribed to the service through those means. As far as the monetary value, it's my understanding, and again, not being in the industry, I don't know these things for fact, but a lot of films are produced on borrowed money. They borrow a lot of money against future earnings. And so without having a way to financially show that this movie has gained some of its revenue back, and either through subscriptions to Disney Plus or whatever, um, it might be hard for them to hold this movie for another year or another year and a half until they feel comfortable that it will get the release that it needs in theaters to be successful. So I think when you factor all those things together, this is probably the right move. This gives them a strong content drop on their streaming platform. It gives them a strong reason for people to stay subscribed to the service, especially if they feel like there's a chance that they'll be getting these movies, especially through these COVID times. Um, and it'll get watched. A lot of people right now are starving for new movies. You're not getting the theatrical releases of things. This probably will do gangbusters for them. So I think all in all, I think it's a good move.
Do you think overall though, you're thinking that Disney's pretty much leaning on this bringing in new subscribers, or at least keeping subscribers? I could see it maybe
I think it's a
keeping.
combination. I think there's the hope that they'll bring in some additional subscribers, but I think it's also, who knows what their internal numbers are saying. I mean, this has the sample size is beyond um, small, but I know of at least a few people that are planning on picking Disney Plus up, towards the end of the Mandalorian's run, so that they can just binge the Mandalorian in 1 month and then cancel after 1 month.
Mhm.
And
There
so
are
so
people
if
out there that do that
yeah,
religiously with
sure.
all.
Yeah.
And it's definitely with these services, that's definitely your prerogative, is to, hop in and out of them as you see fit. But Disney, maybe they're seeing that, maybe they're feeling that, well, maybe if we get people, if we give them something else, if we give them some other reasons, like you said, this is coming out Christmas Day. So if the Mandalorian's run ends mid Christmas, maybe this keeps those people around through the new year.
That's true.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It would be much harder for people to like, decide to cancel the service if they had something new coming out every month or 2 months, you know what I mean? Because that's what you want, like, that's what Netflix is great at. They might put out a bunch of garbage, but, like, every time you turn Netflix on, it's like, "New release this, new release that, new release this, new release that," and, like, there's something I mean, there's a piece of content out there for everybody. So, like, what I think might be a dumpster fire, like, someone might enjoy it and, like, wanna watch, like, there's an audience for everything, like, all those Adam Sandler movies that came out on Netflix, they're garbage movies, but people watch them. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it is what it is. And, when it comes to the numbers, it is kinda hard to say. I mean, when you look at the Mulan's box office, they've only worldwide gross, granted this is only open they were only able to open in places that Disney Plus is not in, so they didn't have, like, a huge release 'cause if Disney Plus was offered, it had to be put on Disney Plus in that area. So they've only made 600 and s or yeah, $66,000,000. It's a very small amount of money. Like, for a movie that probably cost 150, $200,000,000 ish. Doesn't say how much it exactly is in here, but I think it was around like 150,000,000 to produce. And then I know there was some article from a while back where and then, like, Yahoo put out an article saying that Mulan had made, like, $200,000,000 or something, and then they had to come out and correct the article because, like, the way they presented the information wasn't correct. So, like, I think in the end, like, at best, that movie probably around $200,000, which isn't that's not even they spent way more on Mulan than $200,000,000, once you factor in marketing and everything. So, like, what you were saying, John, like, that's one thing that a lot of people don't really understand that, like, these movie studios aren't just sitting on mountains of cash, like, everything they make is from borrowed money. So, I guess the real question is, like, is they must have some sort of financial projections that can see that, like, we should get X amount of subscribers if we have this, and this come out. Like, their projections must show that they didn't get enough return out of charging for Mulan. And Mulan's kind of a tough case though too, because it did have some form of theatrical release in these other markets. So, like, I don't really
Yeah.
know what kind of good data like you could get. I would find it hard to really get any data from it other than seeing how many people paid for it, but it'd be hard to say. I find it to be, like, kind of an case. Like, a big title, more people would go for something they know than, Soul being an unknown. I don't know, it's kind of hard to compare and contrast.
The other hard thing with Mulan was this was really a very unique and completely new way of distributing the film. It wasn't just a drop onto a streaming service for free like they had done basically with Onward and like Netflix and Amazon do. It wasn't your typical streaming service VOD purchase. It was this weird, like, okay, I'm subscribed to this for this fee, and then I'm going to pay you a premium charge. I didn't personally pay for Mulan. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna wait till it hits Disney Plus for free. Or free with my subscription. Um,
Which I
but
think
I don't
is
even
now, I
I
think
don't
it's now. 'Cause
no, I don't think
I
it's
think now that it's out on the other services, I think it's free for Disney Plus. If not, then it's gonna be in the next month. Can't remember.
okay. I actually just looked at it earlier
Are they
this
still
week, and
charging?
it was still under the premium. And I'm not even sure how that works as far as the premium. I mean, it's not you're not purchasing Mulan, you're purchasing the premium tier of Disney Plus. So does
What
that
are you really
premium
paying for? Like,
exactly, exactly. What is that price that you're paying? It's a very strange
Well, see, and that's
it's a
the
very
thing.
strange way of
I
doing it.
brought this up, like, a while ago on the show when I think when they first announced this was gonna happen, or maybe before that, I could see these streaming services having a higher paid tier, right? Like Disney, for instance. If you paid $50 a month, you get access to X number of new releases. Like, instead of seeing
Sure.
it in theaters,
that would make
it's
sense.
kinda like a AMC A-List, right? You get, 20 bucks a month, you can see 3 movies a week. Like, any movie you want, any screen, whatever. You go see 3 movies a week. I could see in the future these streaming services adopting a similar kind of model, primarily the ones that have theatrical distribution. Because, like, Netflix, they only put, like, couple movies they make actually go into theaters, and they do the minimum just for award consideration. They don't do full theatrical runs. They just do 2 weeks in New York and LA, you gotta get it on, 500 screens for it to be eligible or whatever it is, and that's all they do. They do the bare minimum for it. But I could totally see, Disney Plus saying, "We have a premium tier for $50 a month. You get access to the new releases directly on Disney Plus. You don't own the
Yeah.
movie, but you can watch them as soon as they come out in theaters." Or is the theaters probably would never go for it, but if they could say, like, because, like, with the theaters, the theatrical window is, like, 90 days, so a movie has to play in the theaters for 90 days before it'll go on a streaming service, paid VOD, Blu-ray, whatever you want, like, can only be exclusively in the theaters for 90 days. But a lot of companies have been wanting to shorten that window, Universal being one of them, so I could see maybe in the future, especially with the theaters in the state that they're in right now, which we'll get into in our topic, um, like, these streaming services and the theatrical industry itself having to kind of adopt, like, for kind of both of them to stay alive, change their ways in some way. And, like, I could see that being successful as it for kind of in a lot of ways, obviously more for, like, Disney and them, but, like, I could also see, like, I mean, you gotta imagine too, like, the reason, like, they don't like doing this, at least, like, Disney, for instance, or any, like, uh, production company. As soon as you put a high quality version of something on a streaming service, it's pirated immediately and available everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So you lose a lot of the revenue, like, just outright right there. Is it a huge chunk of it? No, but it's a decent chunk of it. And like we talked about it before, when you have something readily available at your house, you miss out on repeat viewings. If you said you went and saw Endgame, what, 5 times or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, if you could have went and watched it in the theaters, but then you paid for premium Disney Plus, so you just had it at home, you probably wouldn't have gone back those 4 times. You probably would have went and watched Endgame in the theater and then came home and watched it again, and
Yeah.
then they watched it again, like, 'cause you pay for the premium service, and now you have it. So, it has its ups and downs, but I could totally see them adopting some method like that in the future, and I think that's really the only way to, like, kinda, like, make it somewhat successful, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I think in the end, it was a good and bad move for them to do the Soul thing because of Mulan. Like, had you not done Mulan, or if you would have said, like, $30 extra, like, that, like, made it like this premium plan where you get the new release content, like I'm saying, like, if you would have said that's the $30 thing, but it's not, they were just
Well,
charging you $30 to just watch Mulan.
with Mulan though, I think they probably expected it to be a lot more successful, but and
Oh,
maybe they get
definitely.
now that
Yeah.
like, oh, that's not the case. So
Well, the problem is with that too is it didn't end up being a well received, like, just critically and, like, globally, like,
outside of the release or
yeah,
not,
the
yeah.
reviews for it just weren't very good. Like, people just
So the other thing that I think may be playing into this, I don't think we've talked about this part, is you had mentioned that when I talked about this off camera, you had mentioned that there was some blowback for Mulan because they charged this premium fee and then the people don't own it. The people that paid that $30 don't own it. Meanwhile, people that waited what 2, 3, 4 weeks and were buying on VOD now, they do own it. And they're getting all these higher bonus features within whatever.
Mhm.
Um, maybe this is maybe Disney recognizes that and releasing Soul is kind of a goodwill move on their part to bring some consumer confidence or some consumer positive feelings back to the streaming service that may have been dinged by the how Mulan was handled.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's where, like, I think it's kind of, like, good and bad because as it does kind of show as, like, a gesture of good faith, if you will, or, like, consumer friendly. You could also argue that it is very consumer unfriendly because of that. Like, because of it's like, I just paid for Milan, but now I don't have to pay for this? Like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
Um,
because no one's ever happy, you know what I mean? No one's ever satisfied, but
sure.
especially if you paid for Mulan, didn't really like Mulan, and then find out that even if you liked it or didn't like it at all, but then you find out, like, "Oh, I don't actually get to keep it now," so, like, that's kinda lame because it's just as much for me to buy it outright here, and, "Oh, cool, I could have got it in 4K for the same price instead of, whatever this 1080p is, blah, blah," like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think it was a good move for them to put Soul just on Disney Plus and just do it, hopefully bring in subscribers and everything, but I think it was, like, bad timing. Like, I think if they
Plus,
just didn't do the Milan thing or if it wasn't so fresh maybe, I don't know.
so here's something else that I don't think we touched on, is the release day for this is what? It's Christmas Day, correct?
Yeah.
Pull back up.
What do people get on Christmas Day? People
Yeah.
get people get their nice new fancy shiny electronics. They get their new TVs. They get their new stereo systems. This could be a kind of very, in my mind, clever way of, hey, that brand new TV you just got. Hey, why not subscribe to Disney Plus and watch the brand new Soul movie that just came out today?
Well, and
You
I'm sure
know,
they're gonna be offering, like, another bundle, like, price thing around holiday season,
sure.
like Disney Plus for 6 months
Sign up
or a
for a
year,
year. Yep.
yep, that kinda thing, or just like when when, like, I got Apple TV Plus for free for a year for buying, like, getting an iPad, right? Like, you just
Yeah.
It's like with
you can do
Verizon,
something
you
just
get
like that.
the
Yeah, I got
year
Disney
free
Plus.
of Disney
That's the thing,
Plus.
I haven't been complaining about Disney Plus that much because I have it for free through my cell phone carrier right now. So, like, but had I had to pay for it, I'd be kind of I'd be super annoyed because, like, I haven't turned it on other than watching The Mandalorian. There's been nothing else I've wanted to watch. Like, I wanted to watch Hamilton, but, like, I just haven't had I don't really care that much. Like, I'm not a big song and dance fan when it comes to, like, I've talked about this before, so I'm just it don't work for me. So, but that's why this would also be another good thing for them because if they have WandaVision coming out, they have Mandalorian coming out at the end of this month, then WandaVision is supposed to come out, what, November? Right?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah.
So
In the end of the year.
they're doing the if it can come out in November, then they're doing what I said they should do with having something new every single for people, like, ready to go. Because that keeps like, if you have Mandalorian run, and then either right at the end of the season or halfway through it, boom, here's a new show. And then, right, another month goes by, boom, here's Soul. And then, another month or 2 goes by, boom, Winter Soldier, so on and so forth. You do that, it's gonna be a lot harder for these people to get it for one show and then stop, and then get it for one show and stop. Because I mean, the good thing for them is that they're doing these releases week to week. So with an 8 episode show, you're getting 2 months of subscriptions out of people, no matter what,
Yeah.
unless they wait till the very end
Yeah.
and then get it. But most people aren't going to do that with content like Mandalorian and Scarlet Witch and stuff because they're not going to want to be spoiled on it by other people. So I don't know. It's definitely a good move. I just think it was bad timing because which maybe they were trying to control the narrative because the Mulan news came out and the backlash happened. Like, I think the day after, like the day before they released this information, I think, or it was like the same day. They're like, "Oh yeah, and Soul's coming for free." Like, so I don't know, but that's all I have on it. You guys got anything else to add?
Mm.
All right. All right. Well, question is for you guys. What do you think about Disney Plus adding Soul here, going straight to Disney Plus? No, we're not. There is a subscription fee required, but no additional fees required. Do you think that was a good move for them? Do you think it was more of a gesture of good faith, or do you think it's just something that they're just trying to, control that narrative because of the backlash they got from Milan? A lot of different reasons that this could be happening. So, whatever you guys think, you let us know down in the comment section below.